Hello, welcome to Screencast 4 of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland Introduction to Vectorworks. In this screencast we'll be looking at the Object Information palette, which is this palette on the right hand side, top right. I'll expand it up a little bit, bring it center so you know which palette I'm talking about. So the Object Information palette gives us all the information about a selected object. On the screen at the moment I have the circle selected. So in the Object Information palette it tells me it's a circle here. All objects in Vectorworks have a class and a layer. I haven't assigned any class or layer to this object yet, so it's taken the default settings, class of none. So it does belong to a class, and that class is called none. Don't worry about the classes too much. We tend to use layers for most of the work, the basic work that we do. Anything that you'll be doing in these screencasts will be layers, although there are other tutorials, not in this playlist, but on my Vectorworks YouTube channel, that explain the differences between classes and layers if you want to go and have a look at that. Layer, this is design layer 1. So think about layers as where an object is. So this circle exists on design layer 1, which is a virtual floor if you want to think in 3D, or a virtual piece of paper if you want to think about 2D. So that's where it is, and then the classes would be kind of what it is, or certain kind of, they may have colors or attributes, or blue circles may have maybe a class of a circle. There may be blue circle classes and red circle classes, but they're all classes on layer 1, they're all circles on layer 1. That's kind of the other screencast. It kind of goes through that kind of thing. Class may be color or line thickness or something within the layer. But don't worry too much about that just now. Just note that it tells me that where the class and layer is. Planes, we won't have a look at planes just now. Before I go too much further, just going back to layer, the layers have can have a Z height, meaning a height in the stack. So if you think about the theatre, think about the Athenaeum Theatre or the Chandler Theatre, the floor level may be level 0, and then we may have a grid level in the Athenaeum, which is 15 meters. So that layer of the grid has a height of 15 meters. The orchestra pit has a height of -3 meters below the stage, so its Z height of the layer is -3 meters. In the Chandler, the catwalks have a layer height of around 4.5 meters. The lighting positions have a layer of 5.5 positions, 5.5 meters. So it's really important to pay attention to those layers and what layers you're working in. Again, we'll look at this a little bit later, because when you get to 3D, any object I draw on a layer will take on the Z height of the layer. If I draw something at the grid level on the grid layer in the Athenaeum plan, it will draw it at 15 meters above the stage. So if I'm a designer or a head of stage and I'm trying to place a bit of steel deck on the stage and I'm not paying attention and I accidentally draw it on the grid layer, the bit of steel deck is going to be 15 meters in the air. Of course it's easy to change, but why not get it right the first time by just paying attention. The planes we'll go over a little bit later. The layer plane is the kind of the sheet of paper or the stage floor, that layer. Note that the circle here is objects. It has control X and Y. That's its kind of center. CTR is its center. Is that point there is -760. So I don't know if you can see the 0 on my X back 750. There it is, there just before it reaches 1,000. So it's minus, it's negative numbers in that direction left on my page, and then it's Y is 4,000 up. So my 0 point is way down off the page here. I've been doing other things and I've not paid attention and not drawn things in the middle. But everything in the object information palette is editable. So if I want to place my circle at the center of the page at 0, 0, it seems to have vanished because it's off away to 0, 0. So let's place everything at 0, 0. That one there, X and Y. So the rectangle, when I selected it, its top corner is the X and Y position there. So I'll place that. So I'll move over to 0, 0 with the top corner. There we go. It seems to have gone as well. I'll put that one at 0, 0, and we'll make it that corner. And this lighting unit, just now, we'll move that over, and then I can go and find everything again. So this is quite useful to do because I seem to have lost everything. If you ever think you've lost everything, it might be you've scaled out too far, or you've done what I've done and moved things back to 0, 0, which isn't on my page at the moment. There are two icons which are your friend: fit to page area and fit to objects. Fit to page area will take you right back to 0, 0, in the middle, 0 there and 0 there. And fit to objects will bring all your objects front and center, and then you can sort them out. So because I put everything on 0, 0, I'll do a little bit of shuffling out, and then we can see everything again. So the circle has its I've now moved it a little bit, so the Y is now a different number. It was 0, 0, I've now shifted it up, so it's 514. It has a radius of 350, but of course that's editable. If I wanted to make it 400, I just type in, and the diameter is obviously that. Sweep is kind of interesting. Sweep is like it's 300, the line that makes up the circle goes through 360 degrees. If I wanted to make it into a sort of weird kind of Pac-Man kind of thing, I could reduce the sweep down, and maybe if I give that a color, you might be able to see that it's a little bit it's not a complete circle, so the sweep isn't 360. Put it back to 360, and I've got myself a circle again. The square here has a rotation. You can see, so it's 33 degrees. So if I want to change that to 45, I just type it, and note the little icon here, it turned around that pinned dot there. If I wanted to rotate it around the bottom point there, that dot there is the bottom point there, and make it 33 again, it will see how it kind of rocked over on that bottom point there, back to 33 degrees. So that icon there is active. It's not just a passive thing. And then that X and Y there is giving me the X and Y position of that point. If I click the center, it'll give me the X and Y of the center, and the top give me the X and Y of the top. Same thing with the rectangle. See, the icon kind of has squared itself off. That one was angled, that one squared off because the object is squared off. And also there are things like the ratio of that rectangle, the perimeter, and the area. So these may be interesting bits of information if you want to know the perimeter of a certain object that you were drawn for the stage. These are all kind of fairly basic tools, basic objects. The higher level objects, I've brought in a ETC SC04 Junior 36 degrees here to let you see that a lighting device here, when I click on it, it says lighting device. It has a class and a layer as well. So we should be, when we're working, we should be very careful to put that layer on the LX layer or draw within the LX layer. And then it has an X and Y position. Its Z height is how high it is above the layer that it is being drawn on. So if I've drawn this on the only layer there is, design layer 1, so 0, so this is lying on the stage floor. If I made a lighting layer that was 7 meters in the air, then the light would be on that layer, which would be 7 meters in the air, and then it would still be 0 because it would be 0 degrees, 0 millimeters above the height of the layer. So these can get quite confusing, and hopefully we can go over these in a little while. But there are lots of other things. Its device type is a light. It's the kind of light it is. It's got its wattage. It doesn't have a universe. It's got other bits and pieces. Frame size, field angles, 28 to 37 degrees, 10 pounds in weight. Need to figure out how to change that to kilograms. And then there's focus points. There are tutorials that Christoph has done for lighting specific on YouTube as well, which takes you through all the lighting stuff. But get to know the basics of the program first. I'm just showing you the information which is available on every single object. Last thing I want to do is just to note that as well as being able to type in, you can also do maths. So say I wanted to, I want to make an object half the size of that. So rather than having to work out what 500 divided by 2 is, I can simply type in divided by, like that / divided by 2 and 200 divided by 2, and that would allow me, that would change that object. Likewise, 500, you could put plus 67, so you can type maths straight into the box, these boxes here, if you need to. That's quite a powerful thing, quite a powerful tool when you need to use it. Very much worth remembering that. So we just had a look at these objects and the information, the OIP, or the Object Information Palette, and the information which is in there, remembering that it's editable. Lots and lots of this stuff is editable, and the class and layer and plane are all important things that we should keep an eye on. And again, we can change the class to we can make a new class there, we can change the layer, we can make a new design layer there, and we can change the plane if we had other planes in the drawing. We could do that, but we don't at the moment. Hopefully that's enough for now. Draw some circles and squares, or have a look at the circles and squares that you've drawn, and have a look at the object info palette and edit some of these parameters to make sure you understand the relationship between the objects here and the objects information here. It's all linked. See you in the next one.